down.
All right, grasshoppers. Here we are again. Woo wee, man! I was in Nashville all weekend, and all I could think of was like, I hope I don't get stranded in Nashville because I will not be able to do the show at 11:30 on Monday with the great Mark Puttenvink. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing? It looked like a great trip.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
last couple of weeks 2 great trips. Going back to Marquette, Michigan, Northern Michigan
Yeah.
University last weekend, and then going to Nashville this past weekend. So yeah, it was cool. I'm not much of a live music guy, and if you're not a live music guy in Nashville, you're really it's not your
Kind of lost.
Nashville. Yeah, Nashville's a fun town. It's just that it's all live music. We had a tour guide actually. We thought it was called. We was going to call it a food tour guide, so we thought he was going to take us all to restaurants. But this guy, he was quite the artist. Like he really loved to talk. So and it got cold. It was cold in Nashville too. A couple of women were on the tour with us. It was all Ranger fans and had not dressed properly, but it was cold. And we were telling him how cold it was, and he was cold too. He didn't have a jacket on, but he did not want to stop talking. You can tell this is what he really loved to do. So
Most of the guys I know that played there say that it was the best city they ever played in.
Yeah, I have heard that too. Chris Mason was a client of mine. Yeah, I loved it.
Ironically, Saturday night I ran into Stu Grimson.
Oh,
and he finished in Nashville. He stayed there.
Yeah, he's doing. Yeah, he's doing a lot of. He's an intelligent guy. Didn't he go to law school and everything? And
he's an attorney. He was the PA's attorney for quite a while.
Yeah, when I was in the agent business, he was there. Yep.
Yeah,
and then he does a lot of stuff on the NHL Network now. And
that's what he's doing now.
Right. Yeah, man, it's funny, right? Because you see an animal like that on the ice, and when he speaks, it's just this intelligent man. And, yeah.
And it's pretty funny because it speaks to how like time passes, but nobody recognized him when he's going around.
Yeah, he's lean and shaped.
I saw those arms that could hit you from the other side of the concourse. I'm like, that's the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw he had a book coming out, and he got interviewed, and he started talking about how when he first broke in the league, and Dave Brown was he viewed as the heavyweight guy, and he beat Brown one night. He was with Calgary when he started, so he beat Brown. Brown was with Edmonton. The next night they were playing in Calgary against Edmonton, and now Brown came back and broke his eye socket or something like that. Yeah, I heard about it.
Well, talking to Kenny a long time ago, one of his first junior games as a 15-year-old was against Brownie and Dave Manson.
Oh, is that on the same team?
On the other team. Yeah, he's like, all right, this is different. I better buckle up here, man. It's gonna be a rough ride.
Well, that's the thing in junior hockey. So you're coming up as like a 15 or 16-year-old. You're playing against guys that are like, it could be 18, 19, 20 years old. So that age difference, like size and maturity, is something.
Is a big difference. Yeah.
Same thing. I was a pretty tough player coming up, farm boy and all that. And I was with the Peterborough Petes, and we were in training camp and played some kid, Oshawa or something like that. And he was 20 years old, probably like 7 feet tall. And he wanted to fight. And I was like, what? I mean, and I think I'm tough, but I'm looking at this guy like you're an animal, for God's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. You grow up real quick.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was the thing I've thought about that, since going up to Northern last weekend, the decision to go to Northern Michigan and not go to junior. So I went to 1 year training camp. Roger Nielsen was actually the coach in Peterborough. I played for my hometown, the Bramley Blues. We'd won the All-Ontario Junior B Championship, and that really helped me get drafted. I got drafted in the second round by Peterborough. And I remember the whole thing. I watched these kids leave home at 15 years old or 16 years old and thinking, man, that's a big thing. I mean, you're going to a new school, you're staying in a new house with billets and everything, and the whole thing. It's like, for me, it was more. I probably was close to being good enough as far as a hockey player, but the social part of it, just being away, I was a little farm boy. Yeah.
Well, I guess for the Western kids, it's different because it's so spread out. Like even when you're playing midget, it's a 4-hour ride or to get somewhere, and then so it's a little less, but still. When you're 15, you're 15. When you're 18, it's a big gap. It's a
definitely. I remember when I was like 15, 16 years old, my father and mother picked me up to go to games. And she's got the Tupperware there, feed me after school, go away from school. And we've got, my dinner there. They're all taking care of me, mommy and daddy, and a whole bit. And you go off to junior, there's no mommy and daddy or anything.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. My parents did joke around. They didn't tell me at the time, but when I went to college, I was 18 years old. They thought I'd be home in 2 weeks. I just really, I still was that shy little farm boy. It's funny to think about it now. I told a story in a book and everything that's coming out that one of the first things, we were there at the dorms for a couple weeks or whatever, and we got invited to a girls' party at the girls' dorms. So about 10 of us go to the door, and we're all too afraid to open the door, to knock on the door. Seriously, we stood there like, you do it. But finally, I mustered up every ounce of courage I had, to go open the door. It was a huge thing.
The captain, man.
Yeah, I know, but it was a big thing. I remember it being like, oh God, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I had to talk myself into it. So. Do you believe in that kind of like the subconscious mind and everything? Do you believe in how that works? Do you have feelings on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. I'm not educated along those lines, but I think for sure. Like,
yeah, I know that Jackie Long that is the hypnotist that I do the show. She's really taught me a lot about. So I guess, and you probably know this, but so anywhere from like in your last trimester in the womb, in your mother's womb, to your time you're 7 or 8 years old, your subconscious mind gets developed by all the thoughts and everything that are shoved away. Negative thoughts, positive thoughts, what to be afraid of, what not to be afraid of. And that there's kind of a guarding your subconscious mind. Okay, so now that's developed, and that guides you through the rest of your life. And she says that she thinks very clearly that you can change your subconscious mind, but it's got to be repetitively saying over it. If you're a negative person, you got to say to yourself over and over, I can. She also thinks that with the hypnosis, when you get hypnotized, you let down that guard over the subconscious mind, and that's how you really get to it as well. So I actually, you think about it, right? It makes sense, though. Like that's
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I recall not hockey, but going to a pro fight, and the young man's in the back, and on the way out, he said, "I don't feel confident." Something about his confidence,
right.
And I said to myself, "That's not good."
Yeah, no kidding.
But that was a conscious thing. But somewhere in his subconscious, he had made that decision way before we got to that point. And he got knocked out in the second round.
Is that right?
He really shouldn't have, because he hurt the guy in the first round, and his subconscious maybe just said, "No,
yeah,
don't think success here. I've already told you you're going to lose this fight."
Wow, yeah. I think that's very true. Yeah, I told you a woman contacted me a couple weeks ago. Her son had had an epileptic fit. He went into cardiac. Right. Yeah. And that's the big thing I said to her. Like, it really helped her a lot too, just to say, okay, yes, he can get out of here. He can hear me. So I've got to send the positive messages to I've got him talk to her in a few days here, but see how he's doing.
I think sometimes maybe you need to do a little self-inventory and be realistic on what your subconscious is telling you.
Yes. Very true. Yeah.
I'll never be the center for the New York Knicks, no matter how positive I think about it and how much time I put on a basketball court. Yeah. Not going to happen.
Yeah. But you're right, though. I remember like talking to the presentation I made at Northern Michigan was like saying to those kids, it's largely the hockey team's Division I. The rest of the sports are all Division II there. So I'm sure there's a little bit of the feeling, well, nobody from this school is ever going to make it big, because we're just Division II. Mm-hmm. And trying to get that through their head, that's just not true. If you tell yourself. Yeah.
Do you remember Greg Adams? Played for the Devils.
Yep.
I think he played Division III hockey.
Yep. Very true. Yeah. Yep. I mean, you look at guys like Marty St. Louis, was never drafted in the National Hockey League, right? Yeah. Kind of put a burr up his butt there. Yeah, it made him fight even harder. Yeah. Yeah,
that's
very
true.
Like
so I'm trying to get a little thing where all the guys, maybe each guy's responsible for one little short video to the group a week. Right?
I saw that video that you sent me. Yes.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I was trying to convey in terms of your subconscious and conscious, and not, maybe that wasn't exactly what I was trying to convey, but my point was, physically I can't do what I did 30 years ago. Right. Mentally I can.
Right. Yeah. Totally. You're probably better now than you were 30 years ago mentally.
Yeah, right? I think the point also that I'm trying to make is that if I can only give you physically 85% of what I gave you when I was 30,
right,
it's still better than most people today at 100%.
Yeah.
Because I've just decided it's not going to happen. That's how I'm going to do it.
Right. Yeah, really, isn't that true? It's just like, I think that's stronger mentally, which makes me better physically. You're right. I think there's more limitations now because I'm older, but like I say more now, yes, somebody asks if I can do something. I say, yes, I'm going to do it. In the past where I would have hesitated, say, oh, geez, I don't know if I can do that. Like, you're less worried about not fulfilling the task. You're more saying to yourself, listen, I know I can do it. Now, I may not fulfill that task right away. I may do it wrong the first time, but I'll get it, keep trying it and get it done right.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I don't think people, I know I'm guilty of this. We don't, we were speaking earlier about this, but we don't count our successes. We don't remember them,
right,
as much as we should, because it gives you that, maybe that develops your self-conscious where you get to whatever you have to do, you're going to be able to perform.
Yeah, very true. It's like a lot of our life is negative, right? Like, I mean, maybe you said this to me. I can't remember. It was in last show or whatever. About we go to the stoplight instead of going to the goal light. Was that your line? That was yours, wasn't it?
Well, it was not my line. It's Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, but I mean, you once said it to me, and I never thought that's true. Like, we just automatically think of it as.
Yeah. No, we live in a very negative. Our lexicon is very negative. Everything,
right?
It's I can't or I won't or I won't.
Same thing, like the glass is the glass half empty. Like, we tend to say the glass would be half empty.
Correct. Right? Yeah. Right. And it's self-regulating because I catch myself doing it all the time.
Sure. Yep.
It's like, remember being a little kid and you had to jump from one side of the stream to the other.
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking you're going in. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went in. because you already planted that seed in your mind. I'm going in, man.
Totally.
Right here. As opposed to, man, I gotta leap over this thing and poof. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's the same thing with heights for me. So I could watch, let's say it was a 2x6 plank and it was laying on the ground. Yeah. I could walk on it, no problem. But if I put it up in the air, like, 20 feet in the air, I'm thinking I'm going to fall. Right? That's my.
It's funny you mention that, because when I was a kid, like in my 20s, I used to roof in the summer. And when you're doing an old roof, so you're putting a roof over the old roof, there's already something down. But I could do the first course, which is right by the gutter.
Sure. Yeah.
Because the gutter was up, and somehow my brain told me the gutter, if I slide, it's going to hold me up.
Yeah.
Which it would come right. Yeah. It would go crashing down and get killed just like I would.
Yeah.
But on a new construction, when it was just tar paper and plywood,
yeah,
and there was no gutter, that first course I was like really nervous. But it was really no different than totally. The gutter was there. But
we changed. Yeah. We talk ourselves into things. Yeah. Isn't that true? We do talk ourselves into, Billy Kodiak or whatever. If you count out failures, we should go to fix them, then be better. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. But don't dwell on the failures and let them control you. Right. That's you're right. You want to learn from things when you've done them wrong, but not sit around and say, like, dwell on that failure all the time. I think it's like, for me, like, doing the book was great. It was important for me to look back and look at some of the things I'd done in the past, the stupid things or whatever. But yeah, you're right. More focus on, okay, how did I recover from those things? Right. Not focus on the mistake itself.
Yeah. Failure is a data point,
Nice.
And think of this, in baseball, if you hit 3 out of 10 balls, you're going to the All-Star game.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. Isn't that true? Yeah.
Yeah. You hit 4, you're going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. You think about that, right? All the failures. I saw I'm sure you've seen it too, but the guy went through all the great people, like Walt Disney, Michael Jordan, Ted Lindsay, all these people that were viewed as fantastic. But then he talked about all the failures they had too. Like, Walt Disney was fired from a job because he wasn't creative enough. They told him, well, he made Disney World, right? So how can he not be creative? But it's the key to it was that those people just didn't quit. They believed in themselves and just kept going, right?
Well, I think you have to find out where you can find your successes. Again, it goes back to, I can't play for the Knicks, but I can be a good trainer to a New York Knicks.
Right. Yeah, very true. I do look back too, and like I tell people that Wayne Gretzky and I have one thing in common, and that we both achieved our goals. My goal was to play in the National Hockey League. His goal was to be the best player that ever played in the National Hockey League. He doesn't openly talk about it, but that's how I view him. Yeah. Right. That's I think it's our goals. And I've learned more and more now too, that why limit yourself to anything? Right. Like,
yeah. And I think there's so many examples from time immemorial of people that were told no.
Yeah.
And did it.
Yeah.
And did it to an extent that no one could ever perceive or even think about.
Right. I do the show at Thursday morning with that Rich Gabberty. Great guy. Fantastic guy. He's always trying to help me and everything. So he's making suggestions all the time. And I don't very often take the suggestions. and it's funny because it has really made me look at myself and say, okay, like, he views it as just, it has to be my idea. He's just joking around when he says this, but it has to be my idea. Well, I don't view that it has to be my idea. I view that when I do something, if I don't put my heart into it and give it 100%, it's not going to work. And if somebody else is trying to tell me to do it, it's their idea. It's not mine. So I tend to, it's more the execution of that idea as opposed to, who created the idea.
Yeah, I think so. For me, I sometimes get caught up in trying to do too much in terms of self-regulation, motivation, inspiration. Right. And then I gotta say, hey, let's slim it down to this daily habit that makes sense for me and it makes sense for my family situation and all that kind of stuff. And then go from there, because you can get over motivated. You can read too many motivational books. You can do too many.
What do you mean when you say that, though?
Well, because then you kind of get like, oh God, which one do I decide? Which path do I decide to follow?
Right. Yeah. True. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, you can bite off too much. Yeah.
The cold showers, the breathing. I mean, at a certain point, it's like then you spend it all day just trying to motivate yourself.
Right. It's the same like even with the diet, right? Everybody, you should eat this, you should do this, and all. Okay, I agree. You're right. I'm with you when you say that 100%. It's like I agree, you're right, but I just don't have enough time, to make all the foods that you should eat.
Exactly, and it's to everybody's level. So not everybody has the time constructed in their day like you and I do, that they can get up in the morning and do what we do, or work out numerous times a day. Other people got to get up and go to work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we don't work, but you know what I'm saying? They don't, they have to find a different way to get it done.
Yeah. Like I haven't been doing much traveling, but the last couple of weeks I haven't been doing more traveling. Even that kind of interferes with, our game.
With everything if you're working out.
Yeah. Like yesterday, leaving Nashville, I had a 6 a.m. flight, so obviously I couldn't. I did my 353 video, but I couldn't do my workout.
Right.
And it did feel weird that something else got in the way of my morning schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a letdown when you can't. And you know what's funny about the whole schedule thing? I was talking to somebody over the weekend. My grandfather, my mother's father, came from Italy. He lived to be 98.
Right.
And I think a great part of his longevity was the fact that he had a schedule, and that schedule did not ever, nothing ever got in the way of that schedule.
Right. Right.
He had a machine shop in Patterson, New Jersey. The day he turned 65, sold it, put a chicken farm up in Mahwah, where I live now, pretty close to here, and so for like another 30 years, he ran a farm. Right. He died. He was 98.
Right.
But his schedule, it was like this. In fact, I don't know if you recall, but in the 40s, War of the Worlds, which was a H.G. Wells novel, Orson Welles read it live on the air, on the radio. You didn't have television back then. And the Martians landed in a fictional town in New Jersey. And people in New Jersey thought we were really being invaded by Mars.
Oh, yes, I remember that. That's right. Yes, yeah.
So, but Wednesday night was Pinochle night. All the Italians in Patterson got together and they played Pinochle. My mother was a teenager. She and her sister went down and said, "Hey, Pop, we're being invaded by the Martians." He said, "Listen, when they're walking down Main Street, Patterson, come back get me. Right now I'm playing cards."
That is true. I even like when I was in Nashville, all the fans were there, and they were all, some of them follow me on, and see all the stuff I'm doing. So they're really together asking questions like, "Come on, really? You do every day at 3:53?" I said, "Yeah, yes, we do." And then one dad was with the son, and he was saying something to the son. He says, "When you get to be 94 years old," he was making fun of me. He says, "When you get to be 94 years old, like Tom, you got to be as disciplined like this." And so he was,
and really, Tom, like I said in video, it gets back to like what Mitch Aguilar says, our friend Mitch. That mindset is everything, and it's a kind of a global term and encompasses a lot. But the truth is that, man, I'm 66, but it just, I can sit down and say, "Oh, I'm too old to do this anymore," and just give up, or I can say, "No,
totally,
I don't care."
Yeah, like I feel, so much. Yeah, I agree with this mindset. Like even coming home, I do my Sunday cooking show, so I'm up I'm up early anyways, but I had to get a car to the airport, 6:00 flight, get back. And you think, okay, you just sit back and relax and not do that. No, like you gotta go.
And I know I do a lot of crazy stuff, running around in the woods and hanging from trees and stuff. But what? Two things: it keeps me motivated. It's fun. And it's a good workout. And the squirrels kind of know me now on a very intimate basis.
You're squirrely.
Yeah. Well, they like to collect a lot of nuts for the winter, so.
Isn't that true? Yeah. Like I posted a picture the other day. We got in Nashville. I left like this orange hat, cowboy hat. So I never would have posted a picture like that before. I'd be embarrassed to post that. But I was like, I'm going to throw that up there.
But now you embrace it. You embrace the opportunity.
Yeah. It's going to be, everybody's going to be making comments and everything. You say,
of course. That's why we do it.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. It is funny, right? How you've changed, like we changed that way. Like I don't view it as because we're getting older. I think it's because we were educated ourselves more, right? About the way.
Well, you just know who you are. You're more comfortable in your own skin, And again, it gets back to making that conscious, because the subconscious is like, I'm speaking out of school. I'm not educated, but what I'm thinking is the subconscious. Because growing up, I was a New York Knicks fan. I wanted to play for the Knicks. The conscious part is saying, "No, Mark, you're like barely 5'9".
Yeah. But see, I have learned more and more. Maybe I get a little corny with this, but I really do believe that people can do anything they want to do. Now you're right. If you're not
There's
6'5",
limitations, but in general,
right. Like height wise, like okay, if somebody wants to be president of the United States, they got all the qualifications. They were born here in the United States, and they should do it. Yeah, they should be president of the United States if that's what they want to do. And I don't like Donald Trump, for example, or I'm not picking on anybody. Donald Trump, Barack Obama. I saw Barack Obama before he was president walking through the airport one time. I think he was a congressman or something like that, out of Chicago or whatever it was, and he was just a regular guy. I mean,
he was a senator. Yeah, and you know what? If you recall, everybody used to make fun of George Bush Jr. saying he's dumb. He's dumb.
Yeah.
He's dumb. He's the president. How dumb can he be? He's the president of the United States.
You think about that. He was kind of that. He was kind of that goofy. And I mean this in a good way. He's the kind of guy you'd want to hang out with and have a beer with. He's going to laugh and joke around.
I think
he's the president. He's the leader of the free world, basically, right? I mean,
the guy became president. What do you do? Oh, I work at Home Depot. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't call him stupid.
Yeah.
He's the president. Yeah.
He just put his mind to the fact he was going to be president of the United States, and he did it. Like Donald Trump's a great example too. My guess is that when Donald Trump started the whole campaign thing to be president, he thought, I'm not going to be president. I'm too much. I'm out there too much. Nobody's. Then all of a sudden he's realized, geez, I got a chance of winning. Yeah.
I don't know who said it, Tom, and I don't know if it was either my father or somebody once said, "Well, why not you?"
Yeah.
In other words, like, why not you? If that's what you know, I mean, Marty St. Louis, again, not drafted.
Yeah.
Panarin, not drafted.
Yeah.
Dan Girardi, not drafted. And, you know, people told him, no, you can't. And he said, no, I'm going to. Yeah.
There's a great movie. Alec Baldwin was in it. Rich guy. Yeah, he's a British actor. He played the rich guy, and they went off in the woods. Alec Baldwin was a photographer, and he was actually sleeping with the rich guy's wife. But they went off in the woods. The plane crashed. They were going to do some photo shoot. So now they got to survive in the woods. And one of the famous lines by the rich guy. I can't remember his name, but he goes, what one man could do, another can do. They were trying to kill the bear. He was trying to convince Alec Baldwin that they could do it. And he's showing pictures from a book how these people had killed him with this big spear. And he kept going over and over. He was like convincing Alec Baldwin, well, one man can do, another can do it. He kept going over and over. And it's true, right? Well, if somebody else can do it, then why can't you do it, right?
And I think part of it too is it's okay to reward yourself with compliment. Because here, you know, Beth ran yesterday in Wisconsin, a half marathon.
Right.
And she came in 5th place in her age group out of 30.
Nice.
Yeah. So at first I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, she does it all the time. Yeah. Then I have to say, wait a minute, Mark. That's a big accomplishment for her. That's like a huge accomplishment. Yeah. I got into because she's always been successful in her racing, but I lose sight of the fact that, you know, given the fact that this is her age and what she's not a professional. She's dedicated, gets her runs in, and that's quite an accomplishment. I'm proud of her.
Yeah. I'm with you totally. Look in the mirror, I say. You know, we go to the gym, there's mirrors there. You know, look in the mirror and say, listen, I'm working. In that case, I'm working hard on my body. Look and say, that's pretty cool. Like, you know, I feel pretty good about myself.
The good thing about the mirror is it's honest.
Totally.
If you're not working hard, it's going to let you know. That's it.
Yeah, and that's the same with the rest of your life. If you're a student in school, take a look at your grades. See what your grades are like. If you're at work, see, you know, what your progress report is, or your report, whatever kind of reports you get. I agree with you. Look at yourself. If you're working hard at something and you're dedicated, take a look at yourself. Like I mentioned to you before the show, I did that hour-long presentation at Northern Michigan University, and if I back 3 or 4 years ago, there's just no way I could have stood up there for an hour by myself and talked about it. So like they actually sent me the video. I watched it and I go, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
You can surprise yourself. Yeah, what you can do.
Isn't that the thing, right? You look back and say, like, before I didn't think I could do that. Now I'm doing it. Right?
And again, it's okay to say, "Wow, I did a great job."
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's why we hand out awards. That's why we hand out compliments. That's why we hand out positions in life.
Yeah, and then I think, right, so you look in the mirror, you see yourself feeling good. Now you're motivated to do more stuff because you see that you are getting results, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. You know, and I think for guys our age, because and I'm going to speak to your case more to mine, because you made it to the NHL for a long career and had a successful career. Did you have a personal trainer when you were 5?
No.
Did you have a skating coach when you were 6?
No way.
For one-on-one privates?
No.
Did you go to stick handling school? And these things are all available, and that's great because now you look at the talent level. I mean, it's completely different because of that dynamic. But it didn't prevent you from becoming an NHL player.
Yeah, totally. You know what? I spoke on that too. And I never, doing all this stuff has made me look back more. And I think there's important people on the way. Some of the coaches. There was my Rick Hay that coached me in junior. There was Rick Conley coached me in college. And then Herb Brooks played a big role in my first 5 years in the NHL. And I think the biggest thing, and my parents, I should put them in that category, and my grandparents that we lived close to on my father's side, the biggest thing they gave me was they never took away my dream. Like, they never said to me, no, you can't do it. They knew what my dream was, and they were probably sitting there sometimes going, he's not going to play in the NHL. But they never said that to me. Never, the negativity was never there. They just let me dream and go get it. And I think that was the biggest thing. The only thing my father really ever taught me was, he said that nobody will outwork me. And that's,
Yeah. And that's so true. Like, even now, okay, so now it's always going to be an even playing field. So in other words, when you play, guys didn't grow up with that, the coaches and the private lessons. Yeah. But nowadays, every one of these guys do.
Yeah.
So that's an even play. So they still got to be the hardest worker.
Yeah, very true.
And then you hear so many stories. Like, I listened to, I don't know how I tripped across it, but it's a Manitoba Hall of Fame YouTube, bunch of interviews like with Chuck Leffley and all of the guys and Bill Lasuk and all those guys.
Yeah.
But when they talk about, because they're asked like, who was the best player and when you played, and they'll all say, well, Bobby Orr or Gordy or something like that. But then they'll tell stories of guys like Teddy Lindsay who just outworked, out-hustled, never stopped working, and That's a huge part of success.
Yeah, and just have that iron will, like you're going to do it. I just think back about myself, and it's just, and again, I'm kind of reflecting on a lot of stuff because I went back to Northern Michigan last weekend. I don't know. I know where I got it. It was from my parents, never taken away from me. My coach has never taken away from me, but it's having that desire because really, I was never the best player on any team I ever played on. I just had this, I'm going to play mentality. That is it. I'm just going to play. And there's no question about it. And it wouldn't take
Listening to Brian Sutter yesterday, when he got drafted to St. Louis, he said, there were 100 players in front of me with a job.
But say that again? Say that one more time.
Brian Sutter, when he was drafted and went to St. Louis,
right?
And the focus on this was what we're talking to, the work ethic. He said, so there were 100 guys in front of me that had a job, but none of them were ever going to outwork me.
Yeah.
And that's how he, that's true of all of Sutter. I mean, the Daryl Sutter interviews right now.
Yeah. Oh, he's hilarious. He's fantastic.
He is. But that's really him, Tom.
Yeah. No, it is.
That's really him, because I was watching an interview on The Whole Family. It was interesting, because I knew about the Sutters, a tremendous story, but he goes back to the farm every summer. They work that farm.
Totally.
But so he was talking about when he was in Chicago and they had just won the cup, I guess. And his wife gave birth to a child with Down syndrome.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so the doctor came in and said, listen, we have we could, I don't know if he was talking about abortion or giving the child, whatever it was.
Right.
Sutter looked at him. He said it took less than half a second for me to tell the doctor what his job was. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I know.
Doctor didn't understand Daryl Sutter. They won't understand anybody. But the way he said it took less than half a second to tell the doctor what his job was. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's just simple.
Do you think, I know we're getting off a different topic here, that they do all the tests of women when they're pregnant to find out if a child has Down syndrome or something like that? I'm always like, okay, so let me get this straight. So it's got Down syndrome. What are you going to do? Are you going to abort the baby? I mean, some of the people I know that have children with Down syndrome, they're a gift to them. They're not. It's like they get more out of it, right? There's it's just there's no filter on that. Whatever the child says at that point or can't say that. When I go to the beach every day. In the morning after I go to the gym, there's this father, a fantastic guy, and he's got a daughter. She looks like in her late 20s, early 30s, but she can't speak. I think she's autistic. But because I see him every day, he goes looking for me now. So her name's Rhonda. So Rhonda comes in, and she can't communicate. So Rhonda, I'm yelling her name and everything. And the father's cool because he knows that I'm going to do this, and the only thing she can do is scream when she's really excited. So her eyes light up and she starts screaming and everything like that. The father just loves it, right? Because it's one of those moments that helps his daughter-in-law. So it's, but again, I hope I'm helping her. But when I'm done that interaction with her, I'm walking away going, man, this is great. She's really, you could tell what she feels, she's going to communicate. There's no filter. She's not playing any games. It's just, she tells you how she feels by screaming. And it makes me feel like a top of the world.
Years ago, I was in the gym, right? Probably about 12 years ago, I'm in the gym, and I look over and see a young man, obviously had Down syndrome. Right. He's trying to do lap pull downs by himself, and things trying. I went to the desk and said, "Does he have a trainer? Is anybody helping him?" And no. So I went over and I befriended him. I helped him out of it. And in a short period of time, he started hanging around with 5 of us that worked out together.
Cool.
Meatheads. And so we took turns out huge Rangers fan.
Oh, right? Nice.
So he told me he played hockey. I said, "That's awesome." He said, "I practice next week. Can you come?"
Oh.
So I went to it. I brought my son Sean, who was a high school kid, or maybe in college, I forget. But we pull up. I go, "Where's the rink?" They're playing ringette. All right, with the stick and the little loop,
yeah.
Right? And there must have been a young man. They told him, because these are all adult age people that have Down syndrome, and they told the guy, "You're playing defense, so this is your area." All right. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't move. So he stayed there. If the guy was at his arm's length, he wouldn't move to go after him.
He took it right.
Yeah, this is your spot. This is your area to cover.
That's good.
So, but I mean, here's the best part. So the Rangers are in the playoffs. And I said to Beth, I said, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking about having Robert over for the game. Is that okay?" She said, "Of course." Yeah. So I called his mother and said, "Hey, listen, would you want to bring Robert over? He can watch a playoff game with me." She said, "Oh, that'd be awesome. He'd love it." I said, "Any particular snacks that he likes, I'll have him here for him." She goes, "No, he'll bring his own snack." I said, "Okay, fine." So night game comes, doorbell rings, open up the door. Robert is standing there with a Ziploc bag of vanilla ice cream. True story.
That's funny. That's good. Oh yeah, I love it. You're right. You get so much out of it, right? Dealing with those people. It's just like, again, they're not trying to, no agenda. They're not playing any games. How they feel is how they feel. Like he wanted his snack to be ice cream. He brought ice cream.
That's his snack.
Yeah.
That's cool. Ice cream. It was awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, it's good to see you again, brother. 30 minutes went fast there. We had a good conversation about, I'm really more and more into that stuff about the mental health and training your mind and how you can, like you said, you deteriorate, it doesn't mean you fall apart physically, but your mind can get stronger and stronger.
And the biggest part is, I'll leave it with this. So sarcopenia, which happens as you age, you start to lose muscle mass. Why? Because you stop moving around.
Yeah, totally.
So
sitting is quitting.
Yeah, I mean, they're finding now research showing sitting is people sit all day. I mean, it's your job. You got to do it.
I know.
It affects your health as much as smoking can.
I agree.
In terms of cardiovascular health.
And staying inside too. Get outside. It was cold. Bundle up. Get that fresh air in you too.
Vitamin D, man. Get out there.
Yeah, vitamin D. All right, brother. Great to see you. Heading out the woods, you squirrel. Yeah. Have a great week, brother.